people has asked us how have we met, and today we came here to answer that question. Alright, so first, actually there is a video on our Instagram account that I posted the first interaction ever that we had that was on Instagram. So Levi sent me this message and it has 2 cherries. And to this day I don't know what that means. But he says he wants it to be unique. Instead of saying hi, he sent me 2 cherries.
Yeah, I sent her 2 cherries because every guy on social media has the lamest opening lines for girls. They all say,
"Hi, how are you? You're beautiful, so pretty, oh my god, oh."
They just say really boring and lame things. So I would send fruits or locations or just a random question because no other guy sends it, and it gets the girl to stop scrolling for half a second and at least acknowledge your DMs.
Yeah, and then he also said like Arlington, question mark. And actually I have been to Arlington the weekend before, I think, with my friends. And I wasn't sure if he saw me there, like if he knew somebody that I interacted with. And so I was just like, I have never been to Clarendon. What you're talking about?
So you lied?
No, it's just
Wow.
because okay, so Clarendon is the name of a neighborhood, a very like popular neighborhood in Arlington. And I just didn't know at the time that that exact bar that I was with my friends a weekend before was in that neighborhood called Clarendon. I just had the city name in my head, which was Arlington. So maybe if he had asked Arlington, the answer would be different. I just said, I don't know what you're talking about. Who are you? That was a very brief first interaction that we had on that day, which is funny because it was the day before Valentine's Day in 2000.
Was it really?
Yes, it was the day before Valentine's Day in 2022. 2022.
Maybe, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So that was the first interaction ever. Then I actually thought his profile was a little different and I don't know, like sketchy, I say.
Sketchy?
I don't know, like
How sketchy?
I don't know. That was the first impression that I had. I don't know. I thought it was a fake account. I don't know what I thought. I know that I didn't give it too much thought, and so I forgot about it, and the interaction ended. Until that this day, some videos popped up on my For You page, and I was like scrolling. And I saw this guy talking about real estate and, you know, just giving a very knowledgeable argument about something that I don't remember at this point. And
As I
like,
always do.
And then I was like, oh, this person is actually smart and it's interesting what he's talking about. And at the time, I was actually looking at properties. And so I was like, okay, well maybe, you know, I should actually talk to him because he seems to know a lot about this and I don't know, and you know, I have a few questions. And he had posted on his story something about this guy from this band that he passed away, and I just didn't want to shoot him any message saying like, hey, how are you, like out of the blue, since I haven't replied to the last text he sent me. So I just kind of interacted with his story. I think he put an emoji or something, or said that was sad, and that's how the conversation came back to life. And
She tried to reel me in with Foo Fighters. She's telling the very like nice version of the story.
no,
And the actual version is that I tried to slide into her DMs and she completely ignored me
that's
and
not
she
true.
shut me down.
No, I
And
didn't.
then I was trying, I was like,
not
hey,
rude.
let's
I
go
was
hang
not
out.
rude at all.
Let's
I
do
was just,
this. She wasn't rude, but she ignored my attempts.
well, I didn't ignore properly saying. I thought the account was fake. And isn't that a good thing though? Aren't you happy?
How would it be
like
fake?
how would
There's
you
someone
know?
behind the
How
account
would you
posting.
know that I wouldn't talk to everybody like that if I
Because
gave you attention at the first time you ever talked to
I'm
me?
a G. I'm different. Why would you not
All
want to
right.
talk to me?
Well, so yeah. So we did talk about it, and then there came the subject about, I guess, real estate, and then he suggested that we went out for coffee, so that we could further talk about that subject in person.
She's still skipping over some of the details
I'm so
about
sorry.
how when I was trying to shoot my shot, she at one point just completely ghosted me.
No!
And then I was like, you know what? She ghosted me. I'm just not going to respond. I'm not going to reach out. I'm done with her. And for a while, I was like, I'm just not going to talk to her. So I stopped talking to her. And one day I posted, I think it was a video of Steven Taylor. He was a drummer of Foo Fighters. He passed away. He was a G.
I said about that.
And she was like, oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry to hear about that.
But I said I didn't skip. I
But
said
up until that point, she completely ghosted me when I tried to reach out.
I wanted to talk to you about your video, but I didn't want to send you just a message saying hi if we weren't talking the day before or the week before. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I would just interact with his story, so the conversation can go from there. That was my thought. So that's what I did. I didn't skip, I said. Well, yeah.
You glossed over the ghosting part.
I didn't ghost.
She tried to like navigate
No,
the
I
part
didn't
about
really
her ghosting.
ghost. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't my intention.
I'm still hurt to this day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And so, yeah, we agreed to go for coffee, and I got it there. Well, I had something that I needed to do that day, and then when it was closer to the time we had agreed on, I told him, hey, I'm not gonna make it in time. Like, do you still want to meet, or like what, or we can schedule it for another day? And then he said, well, there is another place nearby that we could go to, which happens to be the Funland. And
She tried to bail on our date.
no, I didn't. I actually was somewhere else at that point, and then he said, well, maybe we can meet there at this new place, which is not gonna close, because we were gonna meet at Starbucks at first, and Starbucks was gonna close in 30 minutes, and I wouldn't be able to get there in 30 minutes because I was in Portugal, right, at the family house. And so, so we did agree to meet then at Funland. I know that the conversation was very nice, and we were talking about real estate, about my experience in the US. I told him that I was from Brazil, and we had this whole, we talked about a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And I thought he was very nice and very kind, and we were just like very vibing on the date. And then after that, we kind of got friends, because he was inviting me to go meet his friends. So we went to a few bars and a few encounters, like in a group setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, we kind of got to know each other.
Went to Lost Spots.
We went to Lost Spots, we went to Bar Louie, like all of those like little bars in One London. Then I introduced him to my friends. I had a very good friend of mine meet him to know if she had the same perspective as I did back then. And yeah, it was kind of from there that I think our next one-on-one date was at a gym, right? We went to a gym. We went to work out together.
Planet Fitness. I didn't really think of it as a date. I just thought of it as two people working out.
Yeah, I don't think it was
laughing
a date. Like, I think we had several encounters, and I think like we were doing things like once each week.
Yeah.
On a kind of basis. Like, I would see him every week, but like there was always like somebody with us, or like it was at the gym. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to this date and we're dating. It was more like, oh, we're getting to know each other and kind of friends-ish, and like having things to talk about, and that's how it kind of grew. At the time, I was living in Centerville, which he happened to live 5 minutes away from me.
Super close, like right around the corner.
We figured we were actually neighbors, and I think that's how my feed and like his feed was like sending both of us our stuff. Like, that's how we were showing on each other's account, because we're just so close. And that was kind of how it started. And then I think after some time we started like dating. I think after those like workout dates, not dates, we had movie nights. First was like with people, and then like we started like just hanging out one-on-one, and that's how we kind of started dating. And then after we started dating, we kind of like, we had both our group of friends meet, so like everybody became friends together. So that was actually a very cool experience, because we would go to bars, like it was like this huge group of people. We would do several things, like go to bars, go to arcades, right? Like we would do house parties. It was very nice. And I don't know, like everybody kind of grew a little bit apart after that period, but we still have contact with a bunch of them. Yeah, and then I think like after that we kind of got like to date. So I would say like in a 6 months period since the time that like we actually met and was hanging out once a week, we actually started dating. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. And then we spent Christmas and New Year's together that year. And then
Was it that year?
that year, because I think on New Year's we went to DC with boys. Yeah, and then not Christmas though. We did like a dinner date, but it wasn't dinner day.
Is that 2022 or 2023? That New Year's?
We did 2022, and then on 2023 we did something else. We went to a friend's Ingrid's New Year's party, and then Christmas we spent in Lynchburg, because then I had to move. So like after 7 months in our dating life, I had to move, and so I needed to go to Lynchburg, which is like 4 hours away from where we were living, and we just made it work. Like I thought, like both of us thought that, I don't know, like we had any doubt that we were gonna break up or not. And there was like some turbulences.
I thought we were gonna break up.
Yeah, because like
I was sad.
there was like there was some episodes that we had talks that we were like, okay, well, what do we want to do? It's just like we wanted similar things for the future. And I think like we had both like very, I don't know like how to explain. We were very like work focused people, right? I'll say that, like I'm very focused on what I'm doing, these two, and so like our personality kind of matched. So I think that's what helped us to be together. Like our free time too, like things that we like to do, like just see our friends, or like go to the gym and like try to eat clean, try to sleep, and things like that. Like we always were like in the same page, and with that the move wasn't that difficult, because then we were just like gonna see each other on the weekends, because we were so busy during the week as well. So I don't think that affected us as much as we thought it would affect us. I think the move actually made it not easier, but like we got stronger, because we thought like, okay, that's actually a serious relationship, because now we're like making sacrifices for each other, right?
Yeah, I think when she was gonna move, the thought process, at least that I had, was that it's hard to sustain a relationship if you're not together that frequently. So I kind of thought that it was just gonna be us breaking up, because it was like, oh, she's in Lynchburg, I'm in Virginia. How are we gonna figure out this commute schedule? It's like 3 hours away between Northern Virginia and Lynchburg, where she was. Then there's a combination of how often are we gonna travel, who's gonna come to who, and I thought that was gonna fall apart. Luckily it didn't, but I think in a weird way it kind of made things better. It's kind of like that whole distance makes the heart grow fonder type scenario. I think some of the distance made, and I can't speak for her, but made me want to see her more. So it made like the trip to Lynchburg that much more valuable. So it was nice. It became a good bonding experience, and it let us, at least me, I can't speak for her, but it made me really value the the time I spent with her there that much more. And I think it's still carried over until now. So it's still there, but
now we're married.
now we're married, so
Yeah,
it
and
kinda-
now
it
we're
worked out.
gonna get to that part. But then we were like doing the traveling, so sometimes like we agreed to do like 2 weekends a month I would come and 2 weekends a month you would go, but we were like very flexible. Like if there was a weekend where okay I needed to study or do something for longer, he needed to work, we would be like okay, so then this month I will do 3 and then next month we can do 3. So that's kind of like we adjusted, and I agree with what he said. I think like before the move we were seeing each other pretty much every day. We were kind of like living together and not living together, and the move made us only see each other on the weekends, and which made us miss each other. And so I think that really like strengthened anything that we already had. It made us mature more, I think so too. I don't know, like trust. There is a lot of trust, I think, too, involved. Like we being like different scenarios, like meeting other people. Like remember, like we were new to town, and so like we wanted to meet new people and like have new, I don't know, like a new friend circle as well. And so I think there was a lot of trust and a lot of understanding and a lot of flexibility, and that just brought us closer. And so I was studying, and then in May of 2024 I graduated, and so that was the end of my graduation, and that was also the same month where he proposed. He wanted, right, like was May.
I think was it May?
Yeah, it was after the graduation, because the graduation was May 15. I don't remember the exact date that he proposed.
I thought it was the next month.
With June. Yeah, it was June. Yeah, after the graduation. So I graduated in May, and then after May, and then that was also my birthday. And we also went to his mom's graduation, which was in California. So we had my graduation that week, my birthday. Next week we went to California. We spent a long weekend in California. We came back, and then in June he proposed. And we were at the sushi place, which was funny because before he proposed he went 24 hours without talking to me, and he just sent me a text like I need to talk to you, and then he just like disappeared, and I was like okay, now he's gonna break up with me. I thought you were actually gonna break up with me.
It was 24 hours without talking to you.
Yeah, that was 24 hours.
But I don't think it was like I was not trying to talk to you. I think we still talked. I think it's just.
I don't think you talked to me. I think you were working until very late, and I was in Percival. Remember, like I had come in.
Yeah, I think it was just like a circumstantial thing. I don't think it was like an intentional.
I don't know, but in my head, like he sent me a text like, "You don't say I need to talk to you," and like don't say anything after that.
Oh yeah, I would have built
So,
suspense.
so in my head it was just like, okay, well we're gonna break up, you know. But it was. I actually got sad because we had gone on like this very nice trip, and like I went to his mom's graduation.
Yeah, I was like, why would I break up if there's been just like pure positivity. I don't know, to me that was funny that you felt anxious about it, because up until that point it was just pure positivity and good times. And then
I
she's like,
feel like
"I'm so
then
worried."
this sentence or like this phrase, I need to talk to you, is just like, okay, like what do we need to talk about? And like what is that so important that you can just say what you need to say? I don't know. I got nervous and I was kind of sad, and we went for sushi, right?
Yeah.
And then the sushi place, he proposed. And
Shout
then,
out to Sushi King.
yeah.
Sterling.
Oh, yeah. And then I think they have a picture of the day you proposed.
You have a picture?
Yeah, I do. And yeah, and then after that, we decided we wanted to do just like a kind of like eloping thing, like where we just went there and did the ceremony. There was like one very good friend of mine and his mom was there, but because I don't have family in the country, we didn't want to do like a party or like anything like that, because it wouldn't have a point for me to have, I don't know, like a big wedding without very, very important people. Not that the people that I don't have here are also important, but there would be missing like my parents and my siblings, and so like we agreed that it would be easier for his parents to travel over to Brazil for us to do a ceremony than travel like I don't know, like get a flight to everybody in my family to come here. There's also like visas and a lot of things, bureaucracy things we would need to go through. So we agreed to have a bigger wedding in Brazil at the beach, which is still gonna happen now between the end of 2026, beginning of 2027. We're planning for that, and it's going to be in Brazil. Our closest friends and family from here is going to travel there, and and then up to now it's been like we living together as a married couple. We do parties on the weekends sometimes. I would say like at least once a month we do something like a small gathering or something. Like not always like a party. Because when I say party, it just feels like so strong. I feel like we have a lot of gatherings. Like sometimes we just have friends over to like play games or like eat or like just do some board games, and it's just nice to socialize. And we are in a very nice place where we're able to do that and go to the gym and socialize and be close to our work and friends.
Yeah.
What do you think about your married life?
I like it so far.
So far. He's like, okay, well, you didn't like do anything yet.
No, I like it. I think marriage has a bad rap these days. I see why. Not from personal experience, but I can see through other people where some of the negative mindsets come from. I haven't had those experiences so far. I think sometimes people probably go into relationships and marriages negatively influenced by other people, and I think their negative influences lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what I call it.
Okay.
So I think for some people, they think that being in a relationship means like lack of freedom, lack of agency, I don't know, maybe more pressure, just really bad things. And so when they go into it, because they have this belief that this is what's going to happen, they act in a certain way that attracts those outcomes, which makes it true.
Yeah.
It's like, what's a good way to put this? It's like if you go into a relationship, I don't know, this is how I think about it. If you go into a relationship, or say you want to get married, and you think, oh, if I get married, that means I can't see my friends. If that's a belief you have, you'll go into it, and every single time that your wife or husband asks you to do something with them, you'll be like, oh, you're so controlling, you're so possessive, you don't let me see my friends ever. And it's like, it's not really that you can't see your friends ever, it's just that you have to compromise a little bit on some things, which is true of every interaction with everybody no matter what. When you go to work, you have to compromise on your schedule. If you have friends, you have to compromise between some friends and other friends.
Yeah.
When you want to see your family members, you have to compromise. It's the exact same thing in my opinion. But I think people look too deeply into it, and then they take it out on their partner, and they're like, see, I told you. People, when you get married, they need to see you wrong.
I didn't have any like bad experiences so far either. I think like we're very good at like being our own persons separately, and then we have friends that we're friends together, and then we have friends that I have that's not, they're his friends, and he has friends that he has that they're not close friends of mine, or people that I know and respect, but they're not close, it's not in my close circle. And I think that's okay, because we are together, but we are different people, and we need to have that space so that we can grow and come together as a couple and put our ideas together and help each other grow. I feel like that's healthy. Also, like with criticizing, like I don't think I should tell him what to do, like, hey, you're not gonna do that. It's more like, oh, I feel this way when this happens, and then it's up to him if he's gonna take that and be like, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and up to me to be like, okay, well, that upsets him, so I'm gonna act this way. It's more like flexibility. I think like that's what being a couple is. know, like there are times in which like language could also be a barrier sometimes too. Like sometimes I can say something that it could be interpreted. Oh, the word didn't come through. In a different way, just because my cultural background and vice versa. Like sometimes he says something that I don't really understand, and so there's that. Okay, like what do you really mean? But then a conversation comes through and we solve the problem. And so we don't let it escalate. I think that's what we do well so far. Is like I can think of like many times where or a time that it's actually like escalated for a point like okay, I'm really mad at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the story of us. If you like, subscribe. Also like and share.
Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.
Bye.